And we are live. Mic check 1 2. Got my strings playing. I'll be having that. I play that for my students when they making excuses. I play my strings. I'm like, huh? Tell me all about it. I said the dog ate your homework. What? Oh man.
Are as great as any man of greatness that you've heard about, read about, or seen in real life, possibly greater.
Everybody wanna build with me, politic and chill with me. They see the fire's killing me, the authentic is feeling me, the architects are feeling me. You're dreaming about killing me. They wish that they could silence me because I feel so violently. We will not go quietly. Subscribe to me until this show is virally. Got millions trying to vibe with me. Let's build.
Hey. Peace and power, y'all. It's your brother Baba. Quick late night build while I get ready for school tomorrow. Had a couple of things to kind of get off my chest. What up, CG? Sean Gale's in the house. Out there getting all the acting gigs. Out there revolutionizing education in the public school system. What up, man? I'm sitting here chilling, man, doing my thing. Wrapping this beautiful Sunday up. Getting ready for tomorrow. Doing a little lesson planning. But I just wanted to say something. Y'all, pick up your political education game. For real. Pick up your political education game, man. What's up, Obafemi? What's up with it, man? Oh, man, I got the RBGs up in here, man. I got a couple of cats that's down with that red, black, and green up in the comments, up in the chat, man. How y'all feeling, man? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Uhuru Academy Village up in this thing, man. Warrior scholars up in here, man. Man. Boy, it's hectic out here, ain't it, man? The level of ignorance out here is astounding, right? The level, some of the things I'm hearing, you know what I'm saying? And I don't get mad at the people, man. We miseducated. You know, we miseducated in a lot of ways, right? And one of the main issues is the lack of critical thinking and how highly programmable we are. I can't help but feeling like we in one big experiment, particularly with social media, you know, that somebody's looking to say, like, see how we can sway them, see how we can sway public opinion with just a sound bite. You know, you see how we can make them think what they thought was real yesterday ain't real today with just a few short clips. It's a trip how the media can sway public emotion and opinion and people get passionate and, you know what I'm saying? But nobody really takes time out to think. Well, I won't say nobody. So many people don't take time out to think. A lot of people do. There's some great thinkers out there. Two of them in the chat right now with Gales and Obafemi. You know what I'm saying? So there's some great thinkers out there. You know, and man, it's tough though. It's tough. But the U.S. is out doing what the U.S. is out doing. You know, people talking about Venezuela, people talking about ICE and the Trump administration. One thing I want to point out, and I talked about it briefly on the On Point with Cynthia Hardy show tonight. And shout out to Cynthia Hardy and Celeste Cannon and the whole team at On Point at the Big DM here in Columbia. It's always a pleasure, you know, to be invited on. It's always a pleasure to be able to come out and share and to be put on a panel with esteemed guests, you know. And when I'm talking about levels of ignorance, I'm not talking about anybody I was on the show with. Everybody I was on the show with tonight was clear. Everybody was intelligent. Everybody didn't agree, but it's okay. You see what I'm saying? Like people with different perspectives, different philosophies It's okay to disagree, especially when you're disagreeing based on information, not just based on emotion. It's perfectly fine. I'm not one of those people that think everybody should think like me. That doesn't make sense, right? And that's what you kind of got to guard against in this climate, because, people think that if you're not thinking like them, then you don't deserve the rights that they have. If you don't believe what they believe, you know what I'm saying, then somehow your life has less value. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful that we don't fall into that. That we don't fall into that trap. All right. But I'm gonna tell you a couple of things that's for sure. And then I'm gonna get up out of here, right? Trump ain't doing nothing new. That's for sure. Okay? He might be using some tactics you're not used to seeing, but no, I'll put it like this. He's using the same tactics, right? But it's as if, because we live in this soundbite environment, it's as if we're seeing something new when we're not. ICE been kicking down doors and snatching people up. ICE is known for separating people from their families, separating children from their families. Like what's going on with immigrants right now has always been going on with illegal immigrants. Just ask people who've had to deal with ICE in the past. What's up, Melon Nation? The Melon Nation app. Just ask people who have to deal with ICE in the past. This always been U.S. policy, right? And so now they're putting on this show and bringing in the ICE agents and bringing in new agents and kicking in doors and making it really visible and blowing it up and using it like as a platform. Something that's already been going on. Using it as a platform, exacerbating it, making it bigger, giving it more attention, concentrating ICE in certain areas and telling them to let loose. And so it looks like it's a new policy. But criminalizing immigrants or illegal immigrants or immigrants, period, has been U.S. policy for a long time. I said on a radio show tonight, the United States loves illegal immigrants. What's up, Sundiata Brown? The United States loves its illegal immigrants because that's a class of people that you can work for little or nothing, right? That you do know that you have millions of so-called illegal immigrants working jobs in this country that you and I don't like. We was just talking about this. Everybody was talking about this, about a year ago until Trump and them ratcheted up the whole illegal thing and the ICE raids and that sort of thing, right? But these people been here. They've been here. They've been working. They've been working in the grape fields. They've been working in Elon Musk's factories out there in Arizona. They've been here. They've been working. But it's within the government's and it's in capitalism's interest to keep them criminalized, right? Because now you got a whole class of people you can work for little or nothing. You got a whole class of people that you can traffic. And who can they call? They have no state. See, when you're an illegal immigrant here, you have no state. They'll let you work. You can find work. You can find cheap labor, slave labor, but you have no state. So you have no state to back you up. You're a permanent underclass. And yeah, we're going to deport some of y'all and we're going to put some of y'all in detention centers and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to look tough because we got to make working class people feel like it's the immigrant's fault. It's like putting the peasant against the slave. Yeah, peasant, the reason why you ain't got no job and you can't afford nothing is because of the slave. It's because those illegal immigrants come over here and they force us to give them jobs. They're taking your jobs. That's so weird. How an illegal immigrant is not a citizen, has no rights supposedly, but they're powerful enough to take your job. How can I take your job? How can I take, number one, it ain't your job. It belongs to the company. That's number one. You don't grow up in America owning jobs. That's not one of our rights. You do not have the right to a job. Someone has to give you one, or you got to create one for yourself. That's a fact. That's a fact. So unless they're taking a job you created, nobody can take your job. Somebody has to give your job away. So instead of punishing the company that gave your job away, you get gaslit to punish the person who they gave your job to. They the problem. Black people, we use illegal immigrants. Soon as Harriet Tubman stepped off that plantation, she was an illegal immigrant. Because she was in this country not doing what she was prescribed to do, and that was to be enslaved. Every enslaved African, there was no such thing as an enslaved U.S. citizen during slavery. No such thing. You were enslaved. You were considered property. And when you escaped, and when Frederick Douglass escaped, when all those brave Africans escaped and began walking around, roaming around America, trying to figure out what they're going to do, they were the illegal immigrant class. They were here illegally. We know about ICE. Slave catchers was ICE. Paddy rollers was ICE. We know about, our ancestors know about hiding in basements, waiting on the paddy rollers to pass through. Our ancestors know about that. Y'all saw 12 years a slave. Our ancestors know about being picked up even if you got your papers, even if you're a citizen, even if you're supposed to be free, and put back on the plantation anyway. Like, we've lived this experience. Our ancestors lived this experience in the United States. So it confuses me when people say this isn't who we are, when they see what ICE is doing. I'm like, oh, you saying this isn't who we are anymore? Because we've definitely been. So when Trump say make America great again, and that includes creating a whole police force to go out and harass a whole group of people, yeah, that's as American as apple pie. Y'all remember stop and frisk? Remember when New York had the stop and frisk rule? When they said black crime was getting out of control? This was in the 90s and late 90s and early 2000s. Where if you look suspicious, police officers could stop and frisk you. Just like ICE. Ask you what you doing out here. Where you going? What's in your backpack? This ain't new. This ain't new. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So when you looking at ICE, when you looking at U.S. immigration policy, dude, this is bipartisan. These folks, Democrats and Republicans, they ain't arguing over what to do. They just arguing over how to do it. Obama deported more illegal immigrants than any other president in history. So deporting so-called illegal immigrants or some illegal immigrants, that's bipartisan. That's not, those aren't partisan politics. Notice how the Democrats move the goalpost every time, right? They move the goalpost. They speak against it and they argue for it at the same time. Like when they say, well, Trump is wrong for going into Venezuela and kidnapping the president and the president's wife and bringing them here. Like, yeah. And just when you like, okay, let's impeach this dude. He can't just do that. Can't just take those people's leader and do that illegally. Then they move the goalpost and say, but Maduro is a bad guy. He is a bad guy, but you just can't do it like that. But he is a bad guy. As soon as you say he is a bad guy, then they know that that's going to trigger people to say, well, if he a bad guy and Trump went and got him, perhaps it ain't so bad. Like everybody agrees he's a bad guy. He's an evil dictator. So they're dehumanizing him. And they're like, no, let's just focus on getting Trump out of office. Why? They want power. Has nothing to do with respecting a sovereign nation. That's just one faction of the party wanting power. That's all it is. I mean, he is an evil dictator. They'll just tell you that. They're not giving you no receipts. Well, he clearly lost the last election, but didn't give up power. But they didn't say, well, we did interfere with that election, and he put things in place to protect the opposition that we were funding from gaining power. Y'all see how that work? It's bipartisan. Only thing is, Trump's administration lacks nuance. They're saying the quiet part out loud. They don't understand the nuance of subterfuge. Baby say, what is subterfuge? Subterfuge, right, is implementing your agenda, but not wearing everything on your sleeve. Like you don't walk in the room with a shirt on and say, I'm about to slap somebody. You walk into the room smiling with your suit on, and the person you're about to slap, you let them get comfortable. And when they least expect it, you slap them. And you might even wait till where other people ain't looking. So when you slap them, and then people say, "What happened?" and they say, "He slapped me," you can look at them, he slapped himself. I ain't do nothing. He did that to himself. But I'm here to help pick up the pieces. Like he dropped some gold. Let me pick that gold up. He dropped some oil. Let me pick that oil up. Certain things require nuance. So I don't think, like a lot of people think that this administration is being gangster, being bold. I think it's like kids playing with toys they don't understand. I think it's kind of like children dealing with things like, oh, I can do this. Oh, if I push this button, it'll go left. You're like, well, don't push the button, because once it goes left, it's gonna knock over that block, and that block's gonna knock over that block, and then that's gonna mess up the whole thing. They not reading that far ahead. So they like, oh shit, we just blow them boats up out there, can't we? Can we legally blow up those boats? Then somebody saying, well, technically you can. I'll blow up the boats. But according to international law, you can't just kill people. Why? Israel can. Israel just killed tens of thousands of people in front of everybody. They got away with it. Surely we can blow up some Venezuelan boats. We the United States. But blow up the boats and say that they drug dealers. But I mean, it would be wise to at least plant some dope on the boat. Can we plant some dope on the boat, capture one, pull some dope out, take some pictures, say, see? Nah, just blow up the boats and tell people that they drug dealers. They'll believe us. You could tell Americans anything. Those who like us gonna believe it. Those who ain't, not. But even those who don't want us to blow up the boats, they gonna move the goalposts. So you look at the Democrats, and instead of the Democrats saying, man, ain't no evidence, ain't no drugs on them boats, man. That's cold-blooded murder. No. They're going to say, I mean, there are drugs coming from there. However, that's just not how you do it. You just acknowledge, though, that there's dope coming from there. So again, you're like the brother of the slave master who goes to college off the slave master's money, but you hate slavery. It's wrong what you do to those poor wretches. Well, what I do to those poor wretches pay for your college. Are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up your lifestyle in exchange for those wretches? Well, no, but I'm going to wave my finger at you and tell you that you're bad. So that's kind of like what you're looking at, particularly with the so-called political parties, major political parties. And that's why the Dems can't really fight it, They're telling you, meet us at the voting booth. We can do something in the midterms. Meet us at the voting booth. That's what they're telling you. They put it all on you. What's on them? What's on them when they voting? They're voting to continue to send weapons to Israel as a bipartisan group to continue the genocide over there. What anybody else getting mixed signals? Do they want to change things or they just want to turn? Like, are we voting for change or we just vote for somebody else to get a turn doing the same thing? Somebody else getting a turn, part of my, at the assault. One thing I do appreciate is the honesty. I appreciate the honesty of this administration, saying the quiet parts out loud, even if it's evil. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate them being up front. They said, no, this ain't the Department of Defense. This is Department of War. If it's the Department of War, they telling you this is what the agenda is. This is the Department of War. They saying this is an empire. That's what it is. I'm not judging it one way or the other. You just need to know where you at. But the UN is powerless. You got to look at how the UN is structured. All the Security Council at the UN run everything. They made sure that happened when African nations became independent. When African nations became independent back in the 1940s and 50s and 60s and started coming together and saying, man, we're going to create a United States of Africa, and listening to Kwame Nkrumah, and they was going to leverage the UN, right? Think about all these independent African nations all of a sudden breaking from colonialism and getting a seat in the UN. The UN had the big three or the big four had to figure out a way to keep those votes from being equal. So you get the Security Council made up of the major powers in the world, United States, China, Russia, that sort of thing. And they have veto power over the majority. The UN you've had the International Court, the World Court, they declared Benjamin Netanyahu a fugitive. This warrants out for his arrest. That member nations are supposed to enact. They're obligated to do. Shit, Trump done took 12 pictures with Netanyahu since he was declared an international criminal and a fugitive. The World Court can still try Donald Trump or accuse Donald Trump or technically convict. The thing is, no one has the power to enact it. No one has the power to hold anyone from those large nations accountable. And those large nations ain't going to war because that messes up the money. The United States operates at a trade deficit. We import more than we export. So everybody they tell you that they're supposed to be your enemy, the United States does business with. They say China's our enemy, but China is one of the biggest importers of goods into the United States in the world. We support China. You know how y'all don't shop at black-owned businesses? But as a nation, as a United States, we shop Chinese. Big time. You hear Trump threatening the tariffs on Chinese goods. They just be threats. They'll put a little here. He'll do a little something here that's performative there. But not it. It would damage the U.S. dollar if the United States divested in China. Man, come on, man. Y'all got to read up. Y'all got to read up. Y'all think it's good versus evil, and it's a good guy over here and a bad guy over there, and all that kind of stuff, man. Y'all, no. United States is not interested, nor has it ever been interested in the freedom and rights of other people. And that's not an insult. That's not an anti-American statement. That's just a true statement. If it's not in the interest of the United States, your freedom don't mean nothing. And if your captivity is in the best interest of the United States will support that. This country supports dictators all the time. So whenever a politician is talking and saying, well, yeah, well, Maduro is an evil dictator, they're willfully lying to you. They're being disingenuous. They don't care about that. For you, an evil dictator is someone who is oppressing the people and don't give people the right to vote. And that's for you. But for the government, for the country, an evil dictator is one who does not allow America to set its own price for their natural resources. That's the only evil they worried about. The evil that doesn't allow the United States to put an army base on their land. That's the only evil they worried about. Government be damned. You can have the freest people on the planet Earth. But if you're a small nation and you're not bending to the will of the United States, or if the United States feel like they're not your security threat, then you're an evil dictator, period. But they know they have to win public sentiment in order to make things happen. And that's why they've had to use subterfuge. What's happening now is an experiment that says you no longer have to get public opinion. You don't have to sway it like that. You just do it. And they feel confident enough that they have things in place to where there will be no accountability. So either they know something that none of us know, or they don't understand the nuance. And it's going to come back and bite them. One way or the other. I'm just looking at it. I want to make a couple of statements about the ICE shooting that's been in the news. That happened in Minneapolis? A young lady had her life taken. I'm going to say this, y'all. This is just how I was trained, right? My goal is to uplift our community and for us to love self. That's it. For us to appreciate who we are. Love self. That's my training. My training, my training is black love. My training is destroying the inferiority complex that's inside of us. It's not to show that I don't care about other folk when they get killed, when they get hurt. That's not what it is, right? If I see state-sanctioned murder or state-sanctioned killing, I'm against that. I don't cake for the state. See, that's how you get put back on plantations, caking for the state. Right? You got to be careful standing next to the hangman, rooting the hangman on. See, you standing right there clapping, right? As if you ain't gonna be next. As if agreeing with it keeps you safe. But they already have a definition of who you are and a plan for you too. And they're only inviting you to the execution, to that person's execution, so they don't have to look for you when it's your turn. The state is still a state. That don't change. So I don't take no pride in it. I don't, yeah, y'all getting it now. How it feel now that y'all getting it now. How it feel? Nah, I don't get nothing from that. It don't serve me any. It don't serve my community any. For me to just sit up and act like I'm hard and I don't care. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all love these people. I ain't trying to hear it. Y'all love these people. Y'all love you some Mark Zuckerberg. Stop talking. Y'all love you some Jerry Jones. You love you love that white man that own that liquor store. You ain't gotta love him in your heart. You love him with your pocket. You love the one that own the hotel. You love that. You love these people. We loving these people as an action word. As an action word. Every time you skip over that black-owned business and go over there to that business, you loving them people. So don't act hard when one of them get killed. Like you did it. Like you had something to do with it. Like your heart ain't bleeding. Your heart bleeding. They just didn't get the right one. Go on with all that. I don't believe you. That's all I'm saying. I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. And just because you don't like them don't mean you love us. Some people just don't like nobody. Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. I abhor all violence. I believe in self-defense. But I abhor all violence. Instead of jumping on the emotional train, right? Try to draw the lessons from what's going on. Look at what's happening. What you're seeing in Minneapolis and in other cities where troops have been sent in and ICE have been sent in. What you're seeing is the state weaponized against the people. They always come in saying, I'm here for you. That's how it begins. I'm here for you. I'm here to protect you. I'm coming after the bad ones. But who decides who's the bad ones? Who decides who's the bad guy? The people or the state? Come on, black people. We've seen this before. We've been in this movie. All of a sudden you trust in the state now. I don't know. Trump doing some good stuff. I don't know, man, that's the state. I don't care who the face is. What that mean? The state is an apparatus. And right now, we live in a state that's controlled by the extremely rich. We don't have a free press. The press ain't free. No, it's bought and paid for the mainstream. It's bought and paid for. Come on, y'all. Got to understand some nuance. What I saw when I saw that shooting, and when I see protests around the country, I'm looking at working class people. Who have been ostracized by their state, rendered powerless by their state. When you see working moms blocking ICE agents with a minivan, that's not what a working mama want to do. But we've seen this before, black people. We've seen this before. We've seen black folks out there getting hit by water hoses, marching, just so they can be treated like human beings. You don't march because you just want to march and antagonize. You march because you need somebody to see what's going on, because it's like you're a hostage in your own state. You ain't got nobody to call. Because the people you're supposed to call when you're in trouble, they the problem. And when the people who you pay with your tax dollars to protect you actually become the problem, who do you call? The working mom in the minivan? We witnessing a power relationship. And some of y'all already rolling over and showing your belly. I ain't saying what I believe. I'm just saying what I see. That's all. I got more questions than I got answers. But ain't nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. They kidnapped Maduro, but hell, the usual MO is to assassinate the leader and put the puppet in place. That's the usual MO. B before the A. Hell, Trump and them being kind of humane compared to some other things that the United States have done, especially in the Western Hemisphere. People say Cuba. They say Cuba next. Cuba been on the barbecue. There's been an embargo on Cuba for decades. Cuba ain't been able to trade, export, import anything into its country for decades. JFK tried to kill Castro. That's 60 years ago. So for this new Department of War, you see what this administration is doing is saying, no, we're just gonna go take some shit. Now, we was doing the covert stuff. Like US aid. A lot of people don't know that US aid was actually used to fund the opposition in countries that wasn't friendly with the United States. Trump and them cut US aid, not to kill starving babies. They cut US aid because they said, "Now we're going to take a more direct approach from now on. We're not financed. We firing the opposite. Y'all fired. All you folks, like even the people in Venezuela, when they took Maduro, it was a group that stood up like, we're ready to rule on day one. Trump like, no, y'all fired. Y'all fired. We're not going that route no more. We're going a new route now. Trump say, I'll run it. Empire. We're going a new route. Now, we're not going to embargo Cuba and all that. Now, we're just going to go take Cuba. Let's just go take it. That's the talk now. They feel like they have what it takes. They feel like that it can be done, or they talking like that. Maybe this is the art of the deal. I'm leaning more towards is just you got unqualified people in there who lack nuance, who don't understand the subtleties. And let's just pray that the humbling don't hurt all lovers. Because the snake don't eat whatever in the belly of the frog, whether you agree, you know what I'm saying, or not. When the snake eat the frog, whatever in the belly of the frog, gonna get ate too. When the eagle eat the snake, whatever in the belly of the snake, the eagle eating that too. So, peace, Paris. Just a quick late night bill. That's all. Just a quick late night bill. You know what I'm saying? Y'all feel me though? Lean on your principles. If you're having trouble interpreting what's going on, just lean on your own principles. Lean on your own core values. Read. Don't just trust YouTube or CNN or MS. No, none of that mainstream media stuff is partial. Find as many independent outlets as you can. Look for and check news from other countries, other nations. Try to gain a more well-rounded perspective. But what's going on right now? When we say this ain't America, this has been America. What do you mean? It absolutely is. The question is, what do you want America to be? And what you have to understand is that there are people who will challenge you on your idea of what you want America to be. Me and Mama Paris, you know, and my brother Mackendall, we can start a football team. We can. But Mama Paris might want us to have blue jerseys. Mackendall might want us to have red jerseys. I might want us to rock them green jerseys. We got to figure that out before we can be a unified team. Little did I know, Mama Paris might be a jersey fanatic. And if she don't get that red jersey because it symbolizes her Ori and it's tied to her ancestry and that sort of thing, and if we don't go with the red jersey, she pulling out. So when you walk around America and you say, hey man, it's supposed to be one man, one vote, this supposed to be everybody's thing, everybody equal, you pissing people off. There are people who don't think that's what America's supposed to be. Some people believe that America is a white Christian nation. And y'all be acting like that's some kind of foreign concept, like you wondering, where did they get that from? They got it from America. What do you mean? George Washington them told that lie in 1776. Man, y'all acting shocked. No. When they say make America great again, they not lying. If they say, hey, this country is built by for white men to rule, they're not lying to you. But what they did is they wrote a Declaration of Independence that said all men are created equal. But they wasn't talking about all men. They wasn't talking about women at all. Every person outside of the European American has had to fight to become a first class citizen in this country. That means you've had to change the country. Black people had to change the country. And redefine it. But there's always going to be people who want to define it another way and take it in the opposite direction. What are you willing to do? What type of America do you want? Do you want to live in? You may choose this new Department of War type America. You might want your dollar to keep its value because nothing's holding it up outside of American military might, outside of foreign nations being willing to trade using the U.S. dollars. And outside of America's access to the natural resources of other places. That's what's holding your dollar up. And that's just a promissory note. It's just a piece of paper. So even if you don't like the ugly way that America's protecting the dollar, you probably want your dollar protected, especially those who have a lot of them. Those of us who don't got a whole lot of dollars, we like, well, I ain't got a lot of them anyway. Yeah, I wish beads was money because I got a lot of beads. But you think Mark Zuckerberg wants the dollar to dip? People's like, why all the billionaires sitting with Trump? They end up saying, man, get out there and protect this dollar. Because if this dollar loses value tomorrow, I'm no longer a what? I'm no longer a billionaire. Yeah, I ain't never about freeing people. Maduro. But Maduro's he is a bad guy. They like to point that out. But he is a bad guy. They don't care if he's a bad guy. They're dehumanizing him because if things get too hectic, they all gonna vote for war. If things get too hectic for that dollar, they're all gonna vote for war. They're all gonna hype you up to make Venezuela a state. Shit. Turn it into a Puerto Rico. Right? So, what do we do? What's the solution? First, you got to become more aware. First, you got to learn where you are and your position in it. You do need to meet every representative that you have. County council member, state senator, everyone, right? You do need to vote. But what citizens should be doing, working class people should be doing, we should be fighting for a limit on campaign finance. We should be fighting that everybody can only spend a certain amount of money on the campaign, or fighting for somehow having all campaigns funded, all approved campaigns funded from one source. But you have to control campaign finance. You can't have fairness if the rich get to buy the leadership. Right? So yeah, voting's important, but voting laws are more important. And not, I'm talking about voting laws beyond, hey, black people need to vote. They trying to keep us from not voting. They always put that in front of you. They suppressing the vote. Suppressing the vote is bipartisan because they all take money. They're all serving special interests. They're all serving corporate interests. Once you get to a certain level, you're not going to win without a 6-figure budget. You won't get invited to the televised debates. There's no telling how many great minds we've never seen, how many great ideas we've never heard. We're herded like sheep to the ballot box. So when we talk about what we gonna do, what's the solution? Political education is the solution. There are things you can do locally. There are things we can do to organize ourselves. There are things we can do to educate ourselves outside of the media gaze. There are things we can do to fortify ourselves. Right? But this same cycle, especially with our community, who prejudiced and who not. We vote for the one that ain't prejudiced. Man, look at some agendas. What do you want? Do you just want a good master that like black people? Do y'all know there's plenty of slave masters that love black people? People always call slavery hate. It's a hate. It's a hate. It's a slavery. It's a hate. And it was slave masters that went and laid up with black women. It was slave masters that drank with their black male enslaved. What you mean? They ate the food. All that. But they still enslaved you. They didn't fight the structure of the day. You looking for who the good white man, the bad white man. No, what's your agenda? What do you want? What do we want? We keep saying we want to stop the violence. What do we want to start? We out here killing each other. No, we not. Murder is across the board. Unfortunately, human beings hurt other human beings. We don't do it in a special way that other people don't. What we do is define ourselves by it as a group. And you can't build on that. What do you want? safe communities. How do we make that happen? By getting out. That's been our agenda for the last 40 years. You don't make your community safe. You get out of your community. You move out of your community. That's how you make it safe. But if you wasn't a problem, you moving out the community don't make it safer. It makes it worse. So we've destroyed the black community as an entity. We've destroyed the black community as a power base. It's been destabilized, just like Venezuela. The black community's been destabilized, just like Iraq. Destabilized, just like Libya. Same playbook. Same playbook. Somebody put in the chat, you making sense, Bible. Same playbook. So our agenda don't change. We keep building. We keep pushing forward. We continue to build our families, protect our families. We continue to do the things we do in our daily lives. We pray that other folk, even though they might not think like you do, at least want to go home at night to their family and want a safe area for their children to play, children to run. And if there comes a day where we all got to stand next to each other, even if we disagree, but just to protect our children, let's do that. To keep the rich from eating all of us up, then you got to do that. These folks ain't going to get all the oil for you. It's a debtor nation. America's the place where you can have nothing and have something. You have access to stuff with no ownership. You can go into debt. You can live off a credit card. It's a debtor's nation. Our poverty is fun. We don't know WIPO. We live in denial of it. We watch the rich. We even pretend to be rich. We don't even know we poor. And we look down on people who know they poor. But they live in an honesty that you don't even. You know what? Hey. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We got to stop lying to ourselves. We have to start speaking life into our families, life into our communities. Don't get caught up in this negativity algorithm. Don't get caught saying we doomed. Don't get caught saying it's over for us. Man, I ain't trying to hear none. Don't bring none of that around me. Don't get mad because somebody believe that they going to go to sleep and fly out of here on a spaceship. Let them people think. Let them people learn. Let them people walk. Let other folk try to figure it out. Ignorance is big business. And at this current rate, these jokers ain't going to never go bankrupt. Y'all stay up. Keep learning. Ask questions. Keep building. We're going to be all right. This thing ain't built to last. It's been a quick build. I'll let y'all. Peace.